Hello everyone and welcome back to Northwoods Nonsense. Just wanted to bring you all up to speed on another project that I've been working on. What do I have here? This is a 1948, at least I think it's a 1948. These guns were only produced for about 4 years, 1947 through 1949. This is a Stevens 325C. It was the predecessor to the Savage 340, and I forget what the later model is. I think it might be the 840, something like that. It's a bolt action, chambered in 30-30. It's box fed. There's a 3-round magazine. Saw it at a gun store about 3 weeks ago, and I just couldn't pass it up. I definitely overpaid for it. I paid $290 plus tax, which is probably about $200 too much. But I've only seen one other of these in my life, and at that point I did not have the money to buy it, though I really wanted to. Saw this one and I didn't care what they were asking for it. I did get a couple dollars off. I think originally the guy was asking $320 or $340 for it, and I paid $290, so I can't really complain about that, though I have seen these go online for anywhere between $100 and $400 depending on condition. This one was pretty poor condition when I got it. The barrel is pitted in a few spots, the receiver is pitted, everything was just covered in dirt and rust, and I could see that somebody had reblued the barrel before, and I'm pretty sure the stock is refinished, but I have spent some time taking it apart and just kind of refinishing some parts of it. I'm not going for any kind of a collector look or anything like that, just refinishing it, making it look how I want it to so I can take it out and use it for deer. What I've done so far, I've separated everything from the stock, pulled out the barreled action. I did, again, take the barrel down to bare metal, tried to get as much of the rust off as I could, and the pitting, but obviously I couldn't get all the pitting out, and then just reblued it with one of those Birchwood Casey cold blue kits. I've purchased one of those probably 3 years ago now, and I think I've used it on 3 different guns, and there's probably enough bluing left to do another 3 guns. So I also took the receiver and the bolt handle down to bare metal and then just polished that up, as well as the barrel band. You can see there, polished that as well. So it's getting there, getting close to being finished. Got to put the front sight back on it, and as well as the rear ramp. Just have those off. I'm going to reblue those too. The receiver turned out pretty darn well. I'm happy with how that came out. The C, I think there's a 325A, B, and a C, and the C was drilled and tapped for a rear peep sight. This one did not have the peep sight on it, and I don't really intend to get one in the future, but if I come across one on eBay or something, maybe I'll snap it up. I don't know. I was pretty impressed with how accurate this was. I took it to the range before I started taking it apart. 50 yards with iron sights. I shot probably roughly a 3-inch group with factory ammo, which is more than enough for what I'm going to do with it. Like I said, I just intend to use it for whitetail in the coming years. Just recently purchased 30 acres of property. Most of it is thick, like white pines and cedar swamp. So I think this worked pretty well in there. Alright, though I neglected to break out the camera while I was doing any of this, I thought I'd kind of give everyone a rundown of what I did, how I did it, what I used. And I am working in my living room right now because there's a fireplace and the basement is cold. Alrighty, let's take a look. Like I said, I was just using 220 sandpaper to take the metal down to bare metal, get rid of all the old bluing and the old rust. The bolt comes out of this gun just like every other bolt action gun I've ever used. Flip the safety off, pull the trigger, pull back on the bolt, slides right out. So this portion of the bolt right here used to be blued as well. Again, took that down with the sandpaper and polished it up with this rotary tool and the buffer wheel that came with it. I think I got this from Pawn America a couple years ago for just $5 or $6. For polishing, I have a kit I think it's actually for, it was a Matco kit, a pneumatic polisher for rims. Came with these rouge sticks in there. They have different different sticks for different metals. This brown one is kind of a universal one though, and it works pretty well for all this, everything on the gun here. I also took the trigger guard off and just took that down to bare metal and sealed it. I liked the kind of sanded look that that has. Not sure if I'm going to do anything with the stock yet or not. It doesn't really need to be refinished, but I may just to change the color on it in the future. And again, with the receiver, I did the same thing as I did with the bolt. Just took the 220 grit sandpaper, took it down to bare metal, and then polished it up with the buffer wheel and the rotary tool and the rouge. I don't know a whole lot about these guns. I've been reading more about them online. I wish I knew a little bit more. I forget where it was that I read it, but I read that the barrels are actually old machine gun barrels left over from World War I. And when you stick around in the chamber, there's a little bit of wiggle room there. It doesn't seat tight like everything else that I own does. And one of the things that I was reading said that was because on those machine gun barrels, the chambers were slightly oversized just to account for dirty ammo or ammo that was the incorrect size or sized incorrectly, I should say, when it was being produced. But like I said, accuracy-wise, it doesn't seem to affect anything. Seems to shoot just fine at 50 yards with iron sights. Don't really have a whole lot left to do on it. Like I said, I'm not sure if I'm going to do anything with the stock or not. Doesn't really look like it needs much. All I have left to do really is reblue the front ramp and the rear sight. And I don't know if I'm going to do anything with the magazine or not. It's pretty beat up. I might just buy a new one. I saw a few of these actually for the 325 on eBay, but I also read somewhere that the newer magazines from the 340 would fit as well with a slight modification to the upper part of the magazine here. I think you just had to file it down a little bit so it doesn't catch on the bolt. As I do more, I'll probably get the camera out, maybe film it, put it on the channel. Been doing a lot lately, and I just have not been filming it. Pretty new at the whole filming thing. I don't know if I'm going to continue to do it or not. Constantly working on projects. Everything from guns to trucks to even doing a little bit of amateur taxidermy now. So I don't know, maybe you'll see more on the channel, maybe not. Haven't quite decided yet. But anyway, thanks for watching. And if I do any more to it, maybe I will film it and put it on the channel. Thanks for watching.